What a game. The Indiana Fever snap the New York Liberty's undefeated streak.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever.
The WNBA may have just made one of the most embarrassing blunders in sports history. After Caitlin Clark returned from injury and lit up the defending champion Liberty with a jaw-dropping 32-point performance, someone behind the scenes thought it was the perfect time for her 11th drug test of the season. Yes, 11. The internet wasted no time responding, and the backlash has been swift, savage, and frankly, hilarious. Now the league finds itself in a PR disaster it clearly didn't see coming. So what's really going on here? Is the WNBA actively trying to undermine its biggest star? Or is this just a case of staggering incompetence?
I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now. It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling with playmaking, struggling with pacing, struggling with the things that make us want to watch. And she steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made
Let's start with the facts, because they're so absurd, they sound fictional. Caitlin Clark returns from a 5-game injury layoff, drops 32 points on the defending champions, leads her team to a statement win that ends New York's undefeated streak. And what's her reward? A mandatory drug test. According to reports, it was her 11th of the season. For context, most WNBA players are tested just 3 times during the regular season and once in the offseason.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible
Apparently, someone in the WNBA office saw Clark's stat line, 32 points after 5 games off, and thought, no way, that's just talent. Because clearly, hard work, preparation, and elite basketball skills couldn't possibly explain that kind of performance. No, it had to be something illegal, right? Social media wasn't having it. The reactions came fast, and they were ruthless. One user joked she tested positive for goat blood, which might be the most accurate drug test result in sports. History. Another quipped, while you're at it, maybe drug test Scott Foster too. Arguably the most reasonable suggestion anyone's made about WNBA officiating all year. But my personal favorite reaction? Someone said they should have done a DNA test instead, just to confirm if Caitlin Clark is even human. And honestly, they might be onto something. Because what Clark did against the Liberty didn't just defy expectations, it defied belief. 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds to open the game? That's not normal. That's video game stuff. The timing of the league's response couldn't be more embarrassing. Clark returns from a 5-game absence with a quad injury, faces the best team in the league, and immediately reminds the world why she's the face of professional basketball. Her performance wasn't just great, it was historic. The Fever set a franchise record with 17 made threes. Clark looked like she never left, and the entire basketball world tuned in once again to watch her magic. So what was the WNBA's reaction? Let's test her for drugs. The optics, brutal, Titanic-level disaster. You've got your biggest star, the player who single-handedly boosted ratings, packed arenas, and brought global attention to the sport. And instead of celebrating her return, you treat her like a suspected cheat. Yes, the WNBA says drug testing is random. But 11 tests in one season? That doesn't feel random. It feels like targeting. Most players get tested 3 times. 4 if they're unlucky. Clark? She's apparently on the deluxe plan. Complete, with post-game specimen collection after every dominant outing.
Keep it down! Go! 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 Yeah! Good job. No, we can. Good job. Squad needed it. Played Fever way. I love it. More of them.
Let's break down what actually happened in that Liberty game. Because Caitlin Clark's performance was so good, it apparently triggered a drug test. From the opening tip, Clark was on a mission. She drilled 3 logo threes in the first quarter alone, forcing even Brianna Stewart to give her 5 feet of space, and still watching the ball drop through the net. That's not enhanced. That's elite skill, fused with the kind of confidence that separates stars from legends. But the brilliance of Clark's performance went beyond the scoring. She ran the offense like a maestro, created open looks for teammates, and made the defending champs look downright average on their home court. Watch the tape. It wasn't luck, and it wasn't a fluke. It was a basketball masterclass, crafted by someone who spent 5 games on the bench studying how to dismantle the league's best. And yet, instead of celebrating that performance, someone at WNBA HQ thought we should probably test her for PEDs. Because heaven forbid their biggest star is actually just legitimately great at basketball. There has to be some explanation beyond talent, preparation, and sky-high basketball. IQ, right? The fan reactions said it all. One nailed the absurdity with, "The WNBA can't believe they finally have a good player." That one stung because it hit a little too close to the truth. The league seems so unfamiliar with genuine superstar talent. They don't know how to process it when it shows up. Another user quipped, "Clark gets drug tested more than Angel Reese scores points per game," which, based on recent stats, is both savage and statistically accurate. The jokes keep coming, and they practically write themselves. 12 assists? Must be on something. Hitting logo threes? Highly suspicious. Making teammates better just by existing? Better pee in a cup. The league has somehow created a dynamic where excellence triggers suspicion. That's not just ridiculous, it's damaging.
Congrats on your great performance.
Thanks.
Just want to let you know you have a huge fan base in Hong Kong.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
hopefully I'll get there one day.
And today, there are 5 Hong Kong fans fly from Hong Kong to
No way.
And,
Oh my gosh.
And the hour is 22 hours.
No
Your
way.
number.
Oh
So
my goodness. Well, I wish I could have
just
met
want to say
them.
this, including me.
If you
So-
know them, tell them thank you for coming. That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah, so any plans you will visit Hong Kong with your teams in the future years?
Yeah, maybe we'll head to Hong Kong after the season. I mean, I certainly hope to go to Hong Kong one day. It's incredible to see the type of reach that we can have and how much people love basketball across the globe. So that's really cool. So if you know them, tell them I say hello and thanks for coming as well.
Yeah, thank you. Hope one day to show you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
What makes this whole situation even more ridiculous is that Caitlin Clark's dominance isn't new, and it certainly didn't come out of nowhere. She's been doing this since college. The deep threes, the no-look passes, the otherworldly. Court vision. This isn't a sudden leap in performance that might warrant suspicion. This is who she is. Anyone who's followed her career knows that when she's healthy, this level of play is her baseline. So for the league to respond to this particular game with another drug test, it sends one of 2 messages, neither of them good. The WNBA doesn't understand the star it's built around. Or worse, it refuses to believe that she's legitimately this good. Either way, it's a terrible look for league leadership and raises serious questions about how well they're prepared to support the kind of elite talent that brings global attention to the sport. What happened against the Liberty wasn't an anomaly. It was Clark simply returning to her standard level of excellence after being sidelined.
The thumbnail of the video and the title is presented like this. Is Caitlin Clark the greatest of all time in college basketball? Clearly using Caitlin Clark's name to drive it, knowing that Caitlin Clark is the biggest needle mover. Not only is Caitlin Clark not even really on their list, she got removed.
Coming off injury, Clark reminded everyone of a simple truth. The Fever with Caitlin Clark are a completely different team than the Fever without her. With her on the floor, the offense flows. Teammates get better looks. The ball moves with purpose, and suddenly, a struggling team is going toe-to-toe and beating the defending champions. But instead of highlighting her return and the impact she makes, the WNBA gave fans a different headline: mandatory drug testing. The internet, unsurprisingly, had a field day. Social media mockery hit new highs, with users suggesting that the league is actively sabotaging its own product. And can you blame them? When your most marketable star delivers a performance that should have been celebrated league-wide, and your immediate response is suspicion. It doesn't just feel tone-deaf, it feels hostile.
Said, what makes a top 5 player? Winning. The only strike against Caitlin Clark is that she has not won a national championship. And that is the only thing that you can put against her, because the way she has dominated the record books when she was at Iowa was something you cannot duplicate. She's a 3-time NCAA scoring leader.
The WNBA has fundamentally misunderstood how to build and market a professional sports league. Just look at how other leagues handle greatness. When Steph Curry hits 9 threes in a game, the NBA doesn't send him a drug test. They flood social media with highlight reels. When an NFL quarterback throws for 400 yards, the league doesn't raise eyebrows. They celebrate the performance across every platform. But in the WNBA, excellence apparently triggers chemical analysis. One especially. Savage Comment nailed it. Clark has been drug tested more times than she's been properly marketed by the league. And that cuts straight to the core of the WNBA's identity crisis. They have a once-in-a-generation talent, bringing unprecedented attention, ratings, and relevance to their product. And instead of embracing that momentum, they respond with skepticism, as if brilliance is something to be questioned, not celebrated. The timing of this latest test doesn't just look bad.
And assist leader, a true point guard for the people, 3-time All-American, 2-time National Player of the Year, 2-time AP Player of the Year, all-time leading scorer. She broke the records of Kelsey Plum and Sabrina. Like, literally, there is nobody who has been such a front-facing name. It's a direct reflection of her skill set, but how can you be a top 5 player if you have not?
What makes all of this even worse is the revelation about the timing. Clark's return wasn't just another game. It was appointment television. Fans tuned in specifically to see how she'd perform after a 5-game injury layoff. And she didn't just meet expectations. She shattered them. Her performance created viral highlights, ignited social media, and delivered exactly the kind of buzz the WNBA should be capitalizing on. And then we found out she was drug tested. Again. Yes. The league claims its drug testing protocol is random, but let's be honest, the optics tell a different story. When the same player keeps getting randomly selected, especially right after headline-worthy games, it stops looking like a coincidence and starts looking like systematic targeting, even harassment of your biggest star. And the irony? Clark's success is exactly what the WNBA has been craving for years.
Championship WNBA ring on the Liberty did not raise that team.
This should have been the WNBA's biggest celebration. Here's a player who draws massive crowds, spikes viewership, sells out merchandise, and brings mainstream sports attention to women's basketball. She's the face of the league, the engine of its growth. And instead of building a marketing strategy around her talent, the league seems more focused on building a drug testing schedule around her games. The damage to the WNBA's image is already showing. Fan reactions made it clear. When your audience is openly mocking how you treat your biggest star, you've lost control of the narrative. When jokes about drug testing get more engagement than the game highlights themselves, your priorities are officially upside down. Social media users didn't hold back. Some joked Clark should be tested for basketball talent, not drugs. Others sarcastically suggested testing her opponents instead, just to figure out why they can't keep up with her.
Fever history, the first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month. First player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds in a game. She won Rookie of the Month 4 times, Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times, single-season rookie record for assists, single-season rookie record for three-pointers. The
creativity in mocking this decision has been absolutely relentless, and for good reason. But beyond the jokes, the broader context makes this even more damaging. The WNBA is currently in the middle of collective bargaining negotiations, pushing for better salaries and improved working conditions. So when headlines emerge about your biggest star being repeatedly drug tested, it sends the exact wrong message about how the league treats its players. The timing of these tests raises serious, Questions about the league's decision-making. Clark doesn't get tested after average games. She gets tested after dominant performances. That pattern creates a dangerous impression that success equals suspicion. And that's the last message the WNBA should be sending to current players, to fans, or to future stars who are watching closely. Meanwhile, the entertainment value of social media reactions has been
that I paid for, not entirely, but they took money out of my check and I paid for it.
You better get the full usage of that.
Man, I got hot tub, cold tub, weight room, full court basketball. Ron, I walk in today, I'm on one side working out, Caitlin Clark on the other side.
Really?
When you have a superstar, you promote them. You don't subject them to a barrage of drug tests that imply their success is somehow illegitimate. This constant testing of Caitlin Clark doesn't just raise questions about fairness, it also undermines the league's credibility when it comes to competitive balance. Think about the message it sends. If your best player is repeatedly tested because her performance seems too good to be natural, then you're implying one of two things. Either she's cheating, or the rest of the league simply can't compete. Neither of those conclusions paints a flattering picture of the WNBA, and fans have noticed. The public reaction has been overwhelmingly critical, with many pointing out how absurd and self-defeating the league's approach has become.
And she's one of those workout people, you know, got to think, anytime I hit the court, I got to hit that bike. I'm older now, so I got to get on that bike and stroll for a couple 5, 6, 7 minutes. So while I'm strolling through the park, I'm looking at her shoot it. And she's one of those shooters where, if you know as a gym rat, you guys know, like, damn, bro, why you throw that pass bad? Give me the ball.
When you have a superstar, you promote them. You don't subject them to a barrage of drug tests that imply their success is somehow illegitimate. This constant testing of Caitlin Clark doesn't just raise questions about fairness, it also undermines the league's credibility when it comes to competitive balance. Think about the message it sends. If your best player is repeatedly tested because her performance seems too good to be natural, then you're implying one of two things. Either she's cheating, or the rest of the league simply can't compete. Neither of those conclusions paints a flattering picture of the WNBA, and fans have noticed. The public reaction has been overwhelmingly critical, with many pointing out how absurd and self-defeating the league's approach has become.
In my chest, I'm like, oh, she's a gangster also.
She's lighting people up.
Throw me the ball the way I want it.
What drill was it? What drill was she running?
I don't know. She was doing a 2-in-a-row corner wing, and if you miss, you have to go back.
Many fans have pointed out that this treatment of Caitlin Clark isn't just about one player. It reflects broader leadership failures within the WNBA. When your entire audience is unanimously mocking a league decision, it's probably time to rethink your approach. And the most damaging part of this entire situation? It makes the WNBA look amateurish compared to other professional sports leagues. Major sports organizations understand a simple truth. Superstars drive everything: interest, revenue, media coverage, and growth. So when those athletes deliver extraordinary performances, the league doesn't investigate them. It amplifies them. The WNBA, by contrast, seems either unwilling or unable to embrace that basic principle. And that disconnect is painfully obvious to fans. Judging by the overwhelming online reaction, it's clear. People see through it. They know this isn't just about a drug test. It's about a league struggling to handle its own success.
Go back to the next spot, and if you missed again, you have to go back to the starting spot. She had a nice drill. I'm literally still in it.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
The drug testing situation highlights deeper issues within the way the WNBA operates. It has become a symbol of the league's failure to properly support and promote its most valuable stars. When even casual fans can recognize how ridiculous this looks, it's clear the league is facing a serious public relations crisis. Now consider the numbers. Caitlin Clark has been tested 11 times in a single season, while the league average is just 3. That's nearly 4 times more than her peers. This isn't random sampling. It's something else entirely.
I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting from the effects that she's had.
This isn't routine protocol. It's a targeted investigation disguised as standard procedure. The odds of one player being randomly selected for drug testing 11 times, while others are tested only 3, are so astronomically low that calling it coincidence is an insult to basic intelligence. And what triggered the latest test? A performance that was everything fans came to see. Clark returned from injury as if she'd never missed a beat. Her shooting was flawless, her vision sharp, and her decision-making elite. It was a textbook display of professional excellence. And the league's response? Another test.
Some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot.
Questioning the legitimacy of this testing process is more than fair. It's necessary. What makes the situation even more embarrassing is the context. Clark had just returned from a 5-game absence due to a quad strain. She worked closely with trainers and medical staff to ensure a safe and responsible recovery. To suggest she enhanced her return with illegal substances isn't just an insult to her discipline and work ethic, it's a slap in the face to the entire medical team that oversaw her rehab. Social media has responded accordingly, with the initial disbelief morphing into full-blown mockery of the league's leadership. Users are crafting sarcastic theories about what substances Clark could possibly be using. Performance-enhancing basketball talent even started trending. One post joked she must be taking illegal doses of court vision supplements. The sheer creativity of the ridicule only underscores how absurd the league's actions appear to anyone with functioning brain cells. And of course, the comparisons to other players have been swift and brutal. While Clark gets tested 11 times, for being too good, others miss open layups with zero scrutiny.
That when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her.
Suspicion aimed at excellence, while mediocrity is treated as normal. That's the exact opposite of what any professional sports league should be signaling. It sends a backwards message. If you're too good, you're a problem. Adding to the embarrassment is the international spotlight. Clark recently mentioned fans traveling from as far as Hong Kong just to see her play, a testament to her global appeal. And what do those fans see now? Headlines about repeated drug tests. Not because she failed, but because she played too well. Nothing screams professional sports organization. Quite like punishing your biggest star for delivering on the promise fans paid to witness. The timing couldn't be worse either. Instead of celebrating her triumphant return, the narrative is hijacked by drug testing protocols and baseless insinuations.
It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change.
It borders on harassment. The league managed to take its most uplifting storyline of the week and twist it into a full-blown PR nightmare. And worse, it sets a dangerous precedent. If elite performance leads to excessive drug testing, what message does that send to the next generation? Work hard, sharpen your skills, dominate on the court, and be prepared to be treated like a suspect if you succeed too much. Clark's influence goes far beyond the box score. Fans aren't just watching her, they're buying her jerseys, filling arenas, and following the WNBA because of her. She's brought unprecedented attention and support to the league. So when the response to her brilliance is suspicion and scrutiny, it feels like a betrayal not just of Clark, but of the fans who believe in her and the future she represents for the sport.
She was there. I've missed seeing her play, so I really look forward to seeing her back out there. But as I do all of the WNBA players, we are really watching a very exciting level.
Clark is being punished for the very performance that made her a star. And to many fans, it feels like a betrayal of both their emotional and financial investment in her. From a coaching perspective, this has to be incredibly frustrating. Imagine trying to lead a team while your best player is drug tested every time she has a standout performance. The psychological toll of that kind of scrutiny isn't just unfair. It can erode confidence, morale, and team chemistry. It's yet another way this misguided approach hurts the league from the inside out. The business implications are staggering. Clark's presence boosts TV ratings, sells out arenas, and drives massive merchandise revenue. By subjecting her to excessive drug testing, the league is essentially investigating the very success it so desperately needs. It's a self-sabotaging contradiction, paying consultants millions to figure out how to grow the game, while simultaneously undermining the one player who's already doing it. Even the media, often careful not to appear biased, has turned critical. Journalists across the sports world are openly questioning the fairness, logic, and motivation behind targeting. Clark like this.
3 or 6'4", can't hit a layup to save her life, and literal videos have went mega viral of just her.
When even neutral observers are publicly questioning your decisions, you've already lost the PR battle. The Players Association should be outraged. If the league can single out Caitlin Clark for excessive drug testing simply because she's performing at an elite level, what's to stop them from targeting anyone else for arbitrary reasons? This isn't just about one player. It sets a dangerous precedent that threatens the rights, dignity, and professional integrity of every athlete in the league. The historical context only deepens the shame. Women's sports have long fought for respect, visibility, and legitimacy. Now, the WNBA finally has a player who brings global attention, record-breaking viewership, and mainstream credibility. And the league responds by questioning whether her success is real. That's not caution. It's self-sabotage on a grand scale. Even the competitive balance argument doesn't hold up. If Clark's dominance were somehow artificial, rival teams would be calling for formal investigations. But that's not happening. Instead, opposing coaches and players are acknowledging her greatness, while also expressing the very real challenge of defending against her. That's not suspicious. That's what generational talent looks like.
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's...
What we're seeing now is professional recognition of elite ability, not just from fellow athletes and coaches, but from fans who have rallied around Clark in response to her treatment. It's created an us versus them dynamic between the supporters and the league's own management. When your core audience is openly rooting against your decisions, you've lost sight of your role as a sports entertainment organization. This drug testing controversy has completely overshadowed the actual basketball, a failure of priorities at the highest level. Instead of celebrating Clark's growth as a second-year pro, analyzing her evolving playmaking, or highlighting her team's improved chemistry, the conversation is focused on specimen collection protocols and testing frequency. The league has somehow taken its brightest star and turned her into a symbol of mistreatment rather than a figure of celebration. In the end, this episode encapsulates the WNBA's persistent struggle with its own success.
It's more than a fact. She is not good at layups. But I was looking at her stats. I jotted some down right here, and she shoots an abysmal 39% from the field. She shot below 50% on shots less than 5 feet away, which is bad, and even worse than...
The WNBA says it wants mainstream attention and increased revenue. But when it finally gets both, its response is suspicion and investigation. It's like begging for a 5-star meal, then accusing the chef of cheating when the food exceeds expectations. Somehow, the league managed to turn the triumphant return of its biggest star into a PR disaster. When excellence earns drug tests instead of praise, it's a clear sign that something is deeply broken in league leadership. What's your take on this mess? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you think the league owes Clark an apology, hit that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered coverage of sports drama that practically writes itself.